Hey everyone, I'm Ann. Welcome to the Let's Get Naked podcast, where we dive deep into vulnerability. In this space, we'll explore what triggers us, uncover the patterns holding us back, and discover how to take charge of our own growth. If you're ready to dig in, be vulnerable, and face the tough stuff, then buckle up. It's time to get naked. Today, we're diving straight into the deep end. No floaties, no goggles, no shallow water excuses. We're talking vulnerability in relationships, the real kind. The kind that requires you to unzip your chest, pull out your heart, and place it on the table without a damn safety net. Everyone says they want intimacy, they want connection, they want a marriage or partnership that feels like home. But then they show up with half-truths, guarded hearts, and kiddie pool communication. They want deep-end love with shallow-end courage. Here's the savage truth. You cannot create a powerful relationship while performing a watered-down version of yourself. You cannot build trust with curated honesty. And you sure as hell cannot call it intimacy if you're still hiding the parts of you that actually matter. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's the gateway. It's the door to every single thing people claim they want. Emotional intimacy, safety, passion, depth, longevity. But to walk through that door, you have to be willing to be brutally open and brutally honest, especially when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or ego-shattering. If you're not willing to risk being misunderstood, you will never be fully understood. If you're not willing to say the hard thing, excuse me while I turn the page, you will never have the real thing. If you're not willing to show all of you, you will only ever be half-loved. Today, we're breaking down what it actually means to show up naked, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in the relationships that matter most. We're talking about the kind of honesty that builds kingdoms, not chaos. We're talking about the deep end work, the work that doesn't just strengthen your relationships, but strengthens you. So buckle up, take a deep breath, and for the love of all things holy, get out of the damn kiddie pool. Your relationships deserve depth. You deserve depth. And today, we're going there. Let's fucking go. Today, I'm stripping it all off with my amazing ride or dies, Belinda and Casey. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. These are two of my favorite guests to have on the podcast, just so everyone, all of the listeners know, because I never know where it's going to go. Like, I open this and we could either stay here or we could be talking about anything in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I love it. Casey's like, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I had no idea what it was about. And Casey said, "Is it okay if this?" And I was like, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth? I don't care.
There's no like preparation. There's like, okay, here's the topic that came to me a couple of days ago where I was like, ooh, that would be good. I was initially thinking like vulnerability in marriage and what that looks like. And then yesterday I was, in my meditation was thinking, just vulnerability in relationships in general, because there are super important relationships that we have that are outside of marriages. Belinda and I have a very, I would say just as important as my marriage with Cameron relationship on that level, right? And obviously that takes work and everything that goes into what level of relationship do you want to have. And I think I'm in this era of really leveling up all of my relationships over the last several years, because I do want to have deep relationships. I do want to have hard conversations and really understand who you are as a person, which is ever changing as well, as am I. Same with Casey, right? Casey and I have been together for 20 years. Belinda and I have been together for 30. These are important relationships in my life, and I want to be able to not live in the kiddie pool. I want to be in the deep end and understand and come from that place. So that's kind of why it was like, okay, we're going from marriages to just relationships in general, but we can talk about some of the wins, some of the not wins, some of the things where it's like, in relationships come to an end a lot of times, whether it's marriages or friendships. All of us have had all of those things that have happened, and really understanding that that's part of the process, that's part of the dance, is we're not always meant to carry everyone all the way through life, even though maybe we thought that was how that was going to go when we first said I do's or hooked up with friends in general. So I think that's a pretty powerful conversation. So one of you can jump in whenever you'd like.
Well, I think it's it's about being authentic, and then just being honest with yourself, and knowing those changes are going to come, and knowing that your relationships will evolve, and understanding, yes, that they will probably end.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of them will.
Yeah.
I don't really know, like, I've had so many relationships, even though I felt like I didn't, but I did. And I have new ones, and it's just fun to think how, and I don't think about this like obsessively. I just go, ooh, how long is this one going to last?
Which is fun, because you realize everything is here for a season.
Yeah.
And who knows how long that season is going to be. I think there are some people that are kind of, you will carry through your entire life if you're both willing to be super vulnerable, and you can evolve next to each other. It doesn't have to be at the same pace, doesn't have to be at the same time, but just being able to understand that you're on that journey. I can't imagine having a relationship with somebody who isn't on their own personal journey. I was thinking about that recently, because there's a lot of new people that are coming into my life, and I'm definitely bringing people in based on energy and their frequency, because you can feel somebody's vibe, and I connect like a magnet with people. And if they're not, those people are people that are always working on themselves and understand that there's a bigger picture. I can't imagine being with somebody with kind of kiddie pool surface level conversation. Again, that leaves me pretty dry.
I'm chuckling right now because I'm just picturing Anne coming up to someone new. Just, hi, how are you?
Oh my God, it's so much. It's so much. And you girls know, because, Belinda and Casey understand who the fuck I am, and it is a lot. So yeah, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to be friends? Here's my phone number. Call me later, right?
That's literally how
It's so
I'm sure
true.
it feels like. But yeah, but it's crazy, because then when you have those connections with other people, right? Like Lindsay and I connect like that. Christy and I connect like that. Jill and I connect like that. Like, these are people's energy that I can fuck with hard. It's like, yes, girl, get in this circle, because
fun to watch.
it is. It's got to be a fucking train wreck to watch, probably.
It's
but
so fun to watch, actually.
yeah. So that's pretty awesome. Tell me what you know about all of this, Casey, with relationships and vulnerability in relationships. What does that mean to you when we even say that conversation or that topic?
So for me, I feel like I look back at my marriage, and we were very young when we got together, and we did grow up, to some degree together. And I think I was just checking. I mean, I loved him.
Of course.
I still love him. He's a very important part of my life. But I was checking the boxes of like, okay, I got married. Now let's have kids. So then I had kids. And, we would communicate, but there was never like any like intentional, like, let's sit down and have these hard conversations. I'm really hurting. This is really bothering me. It was just, I don't know. You see everybody else just getting married and they look happy. And it just seems like that's how it's supposed to go. Like, it's just supposed to be easy. And it's like, oh yeah, this is my person. And it's not easy at all. There's a lot more work that goes into it than just getting married and having fun.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Can we talk about the other side of that?
Yeah,
because
I'd love to.
Because I think, and I agree with you. And while you were saying that, I was thinking, but I was putting myself there in my relationship or my marriage, and how you have to. Now we can recognize. Now we can see that the other person wasn't even there. Like they weren't ready for the hard conversation, and not that we neither one of us were. And I'll take myself as an example. Is I thought that by bringing him into the room and sitting down and telling him how I felt, that would be reciprocated, and it was not. And I didn't realize any of that until after the divorce, that he didn't know. He just really didn't know. He didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know what to say. He didn't have any clue, right? So it's like
He
that
shuts down and
yeah, but that's like just with any relationship now. And that it's just it's just over time and wisdom, just learning that and just understanding that not everyone that you have a conversation with is going to understand what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I can only imagine what it's like for the other person.
Well, and also just even having like rules of engagement almost in, hey, I'm at a place where I'm interested in having a deeper connection with you, and what does that even look like? Maybe having that conversation first, which never happens, by the way. It never happened with me either. But it feels like, if you're listening, what would be something that I would tell a listener as far as if you wanted to have a deeper relationship with your partner, what does that look like? And I think even just having that initial conversation of, hey, I'm tired of being in the kiddie pool, right? Because I think that's a big thing. Like Casey was saying, you get married and then it's just surface layer stuff. And it's, yes, you communicate and yes, you all of these things, but there's obviously a completely different level. And I can actually pinpoint the exact moment when I feel like Cameron and I kind of got out of the last layer of kiddie pool into where we are now. And it literally was me sitting there. We were at a baseball game and there was something in my head, and then the day before Anne version would have just not said anything. And this version was like, I'm just going to say it and see what happens, right? And it was one of these things where as soon as I did, it was super vulnerable, it was super whatever, and he reciprocated like a fucking Mack truck. And we sat there and just had the coolest conversation on the planet, and I was like, this is what I want. This is what intimacy to me is, and being able to really say that. I had done enough therapy, and so had he, and all of the things, but it was like, I don't want to just have surface level, like, okay, what's our planning for the business or how are we running the household or whatever. It's like, no, tell me about that time this happened in your life, or let me show you the disgusting underbelly of what makes up who I am. And you really have to be willing to get out of your ego in those instances, because if you're in your ego, our egos are so fragile and they cling to whatever our version of reality is, that it prevents deep connections in those ways. And so if you can say, hey, Belinda, I really want to get in the deep end with you. And what that's going to look like is I'm going to have to be willing to hear the hard things from you, but I want to know everything about you. I want to know, when you tell me different things about what you did when you were a little girl and things that you thought or felt or experiences that you had, I want to know those and I want to hear those, right? The old Anne didn't have the capacity or the bandwidth for that. The old Anne was so concerned about everything revolving around her. I look back and when I was doing it, I didn't feel like, I've always been a good person. But I never was plugged into people in this way. Now I'm like, I get the popcorn out and I'm asking Belinda about, tell me, how was that for you? Because I want to know. I'm on this mission of really wanting to understand emotional intelligence and what that looks like for me and for you and for us and the dynamics of all of those things. But you have to be willing to hear the hard thing, even if that hurts. Over the last couple of years, Belinda and I have really, our relationship has grown, I think, to where it's not even recognizable to what it was before.
Yeah, no.
And it started with hard conversations of, Belinda saying, you really fucking hurt my feelings when you did this. And me saying, I'm going to receive that. That stings, that hurts. It feels like a gut punch. And I'm going to process that and we can circle back about that. But you have to be willing to do that. If not, you're just waiting with, waders and floaties on in the kiddie pool, not talking about things, avoiding each other's triggers. Who wants that?
For me, I just didn't even know to even ask
Of
the
course,
questions.
of course.
I was on the nosy side and wanted to know, why are you the way that you are, but still not even digging into really who he was and understanding and having deep conversations. Things would come up and they get deep, but it wasn't like to truly understand who I was married to and this life that we could create. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just checking the boxes of, this is what we do. We get along. So, and now I'm going to ask you some questions, but it wasn't like super in my face of like, God, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know who I'm married to.
Yeah, but at that point, did you even know who you were?
No.
Right.
I'm learning that
You're
now.
learning that now.
Yeah.
But isn't that the wild part of it, right? So when you do have a partner, whether that's a marriage or a friendship or whatever that looks like, where you're able to explore that with one another and say, I'm figuring it out, right? I'm figuring out who I am. And by having these deep conversations, I'm able to explore what that looks like or what that feels like or where that stemmed from, because I also didn't know that. Cameron and I have always had a relationship that, amidst all of its ups and downs, we started out with brutally open, brutally honest. Like, we said that from the very beginning. The podcast name, Let's Get Naked. I mean, that's Cameron and I were always like standing naked in front of each other. That was not always the case because we went through hard times, and it was like, okay, shit, I'm putting some clothes back on because I don't feel safe in this, or whatever that looks like. But even at the beginning, I had no idea how amazing things could be. And so in the last couple of years of deeper connections with you, deeper connections with him, deeper connections with other people, I don't want to be surface level with anybody. Like, I sit down with a new friend at breakfast and we're talking about all the fucked up things that happened, and not from like a keeping score or any of that, but just really sharing, like, here's some of the shit that makes me who I am.
Right.
That's where I want to be. I don't want to be talking about stupid shit. Yeah. Like, I'm not interested in people get together and they gossip and they talk about stupid shit, and it's like, no, tell me about what you're doing in life. Let's support your win. Let me help you support your wins. Let me champion for you. Yeah. Tell me about the tough stuff that you're doing right now, not from a place where you're worried I'm going to judge you. I've been at the fucking bottom. Like, I've clawed my way out of the fucking gutter, and there's no guarantees you're not going to go back there. Life is messy, right? So being able to really support one another in all of those things and be vulnerable enough to say, hey, you stepped on my toes there, and let's figure out what that looks like and talk through that. I mean, that's an adult relationship.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah. And I didn't realize I was getting into one when I was 20 years old. Like, you think you know, but.
Oh, you don't know anything at 20.
No way.
Yeah.
And then I had kids right after, and it was like, started my life way too early.
Samesies.
All three of us did, right? And it's wild to me because I've looked at the emotional intelligence of women who started out very young, right? And in this age group now where it's like our kids are getting older, our kids are out of the house, and we're figuring out who we are and what that looks like. Because how old were you when you had Nico?
17.
17, right? So Belinda was 17, I was 19. You were early
22.
20s, right? So it's like, you don't have time to figure out. You weren't out of your parents' house before you were putting babies out. Same, it's like I was a child. Mm-hmm. I look back to, I was thinking the other day about being in the hospital. What the fuck that looked like, having Brittany, right? I'm 18 years old, in the hospital, thinking I just knew all the things. I figured I knew all the things. Look, I can make a baby. I've got this. What a mess.
I'm a grown up.
Take me seriously. I'm still not a fucking grown up. I'm running the other direction, right?
You are.
I really am. I'm like, what makes me feel like a campfire in my chest with awe and wonder and makes me feel like I'm 8 years old? That's the shit I'm doing. Mm-hmm. That's the shit I'm doing. And I highly encourage everyone to lean right all the way the fuck into that, because that's where life is, right? Life is in the little moments that happen between all the bullshit. Mm-hmm. And everyone has hard stuff that they have to deal with.
There's a lot of bullshit.
There is, but it's like, figure out which stuff you want to engage with and which stuff you don't. Because I think so many people have all of these, perceived expectations of what being an adult has to look like. And it's like, no. Who, I'm curious, who laid out all of these rules about like the keeping up with the Joneses? Whether it's in relationships or whether it's in friendships or whether it's in how much money or what house you have or whatever, people are drowning behind closed doors so that they can have these things. And it's like, why?
That's exactly what we were doing. And
yeah,
it's like, you just think everyone else has got everything. They've got this house. They live over here in this neighborhood.
Sure.
They've got all these new cars. And it's like, well, we're about the same age. We've got about the same life. We should be able to do those things too. So I guess we will, even though we really can't.
Right.
And then all of a sudden
and then you're drowning.
I wish I would have told you when I was trying to keep up with you and when I stopped, because it was early, but I would have loved to got your perspective of I'm trying to keep up with you, but what your shit show really looked on your side.
Oh my God. Wouldn't that have been amazing to have that friendship?
Would have.
You know what? Anytime you ever think of something like that, I would love to rehash that with you for whatever parts I can remember, because it's wild. When you do that comparison game, it's a no-win game for everybody. And also, let's not compare, because I want you to win too.
Yeah.
And I want you to win too, right? And I'm definitely fucking winning, because that's how I run my life.
Yes.
But when you realize that, because it's the same, right? The comparison thing of feeling like, I'm at this place, the same place that these other people are. I should be able to have this house or these cars or these other things. And it's like, who said those things were going to make you happy? Right? I got to all of this place where it was like this big house in Paradise Valley and this fancy car and like all of this shit. I was never more miserable in my life. Never more miserable in my life.
Oh, I quit long ago.
Yeah,
I was still in
for sure.
Avondale.
For sure.
I was like, oh my God,
No.
I'm tired. I told my ex-husband, I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm not doing this anymore.
You know what's
I
funny?
get that a lot from people. They're like, you are too fucking much. I'm like, I am just the right amount. This is just who God made me as. I don't know. I wake up this way. I send myself emails from bed of like, ooh, here's this other amazing idea that we're going to hustle.
Send me emails from bed sometimes. But what's funny is I always looked at you, Belinda, as being like, you and Anne are like up here to me. Anne and all her friends were always like up here to me.
Fuck yeah, we fake it well, don't we?
Crushing it.
But only recently, I would say, like within the past few years, that I realized, like, oh, like they're just Anne's friends.
Yeah.
Like they're not. I don't know. I just had this whole idea that you were up there with her, and
Right.
you are up there. We're all up there.
We're classy.
Well, and that's the beautiful part. You saying that right now is the important piece. We're all on the same level, right? There's no difference. Everyone is just fighting their own fight and dealing with their own things, and we do that behind closed doors because of the fact that we are in the shallow end and we are afraid of being judged and compared and all of the different things. Let's stop doing that, right? Obviously, you have to have a circle of people around you where you trust or you don't feel like. But if you don't have that circle of people around you now, people can fall out of your life, and that's okay. Yeah. We're not meant to be horrible to each other. I watch Real Housewives of whatever, and I look at these people. I'm like, these people are not friends. Like, that's nice that they put this on a show and whatever, but they call each other friends, and then they are fucked up to each other. I'm like, that's not what friendship looks like. If you come to me and you say something, I don't go, oh, and I'm going to go fucking tell something behind your back and fucking make fun of whatever you did. I mean, that's awful.
It's hilarious.
It is.
Well, a
but
lot
it's
of
like,
relationships are, little friend groups
well,
are.
that's the whole thing,
It's
right? So
terrible.
that's the part of like, I'm not interested in having, those are kiddie pool friendships to me. And,
Yeah.
and that's not a judgment because I lived in those places. I was in the kiddie pool, right? I totally get it. But being in the deep end now and understanding how amazing the connections can be and how you can learn about one another and not just who you are here in this world, but like, I want to know your soul. I want to know who you are. Like, I want to know your soul, Casey. That's important to me. I want to show you who makes this fucked up, like, oh my God, let's go. Like, because it's not changing, it's getting worse. You know, I was like,
getting better.
Better, worse, better for me.
more honed in.
It is, well, I have so much fucking energy. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes,
like,
you do.
I'm nervous for everyone. The kids are all out of the house. Now I've got some time and some fucking money and nothing but energy. I'm like, Jesus, beware.
We haven't started the day with a jump on the trampoline in a minute.
Oh, fuck you. I do it all the time. I have one in my house. Like,
yeah.
you know that I do.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
No, it's weird. Like, I manufacture my energy. I'm not fucking around. I understand what that looks like now, and I know how to protect it and how to use it.
I can visualize that too.
Isn't it true, right? But it's one of those things, right? From the book that I've written, just so everyone knows, if you haven't gotten your copy yet of the Life Hack Playbook.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. I love Casey playing into this. But that's one of those things, understanding your energy and how to protect it. I spent so many years not understanding because I've always had the energy, but I didn't know that it was, my biggest asset. I didn't know how to use it wisely. I, was tossing it around like it was nothing. Now that I understand that concept and how to use it, everyone should watch out.
Game
everyone,
over.
Yeah, everyone should be on, scared. Wiley was telling me, speaking of game over, Wiley was telling me the other day, which is the best compliment I've ever received in my entire life. He says to me, Mom, you're living in free mode. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you've done things like, now you just do whatever the fuck you want to, right? I have this podcast, I write this book. All I want to do is like share with people the knowledge of life can be so much better than what you're doing, right? We're not supposed to live behind closed doors where we don't talk about anything and everyone is literally drowning in debt trying to keep up with the Joneses, or these marriages where people think it's supposed to be like this and then it's not. If you don't water your marriage, if you don't water your relationships and put energy and effort into them, do not act surprised when you wake up and you don't know who the fuck you're sleeping next to, right? And you have kids where you're like, oh, now we're getting split up and whatever. If you didn't take care of the fucking marriage, what did you expect, right? And same, like none of us are immune to that. That's all of us, because I know all of us have woken up going, who is this person next to me? Right? Yeah. What am I doing?
But you say, what did you expect? I expected it to be easy.
I know. Well, because that's what we're sold. You're sold this fairy tale dream of like, you're going to find your person, you're going to find your prince, you're going to get married, and then everything's just going to roll out. And
it's like, yeah, there's might be some bumps in the road,
Sure.
and you expect that, but then
you don't realize how savage it gets.
Yeah.
It gets savage. When you're in the fucking trenches, like I went back and read some of my earlier journal entries. thank God Cameron and I got in the deep end because, you know, we're coming to the place where you have kids that are moving out, and what are you going to do? Stay with somebody for the rest of your life that you're not compatible with and that you just do surface level stuff with? No, thank you. I'd rather be by myself. I'll be in the deep end by myself. Yep. You know, Michael and I were talking about dating ourselves before we started recording, and I was like, that's my fucking favorite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cameron's hunting right now. I couldn't be happier about, and I love him. I love when he's around, but I love when he's gone because it's like I get my incense out and I get my books and my journals and I turn my music on. I love to date myself. It's my absolute favorite.
I'm looking forward to doing that when I move. I feel like I haven't, this house that I'm in right now is, I don't know, there's a bad energy to it, and I feel like it's holding me back. But I'm excited to date myself.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is. It's the most fun that you'll do. When do you feel like you started dating yourself, or have you always done that? Because that was a later in life thing.
Yeah, I've always been single. So, but no, recently, I mean, probably the past year and a half, like, but the most recent, I've just been feeling so whole.
Yes.
Like the months, maybe 6 months, just so whole. Like I don't need another person to fulfill me.
Isn't that great?
You know, it's so solid. It's almost so solid. I have to catch myself and say, girl, eventually you'll want someone to enhance your life.
Sure.
But not right now. I still need time to, you know, do what I got to do because I have plans. So those plans have to be in motion and set before I want to really like dive into another relationship where, you know, it could get complicated if I, you know, let my guard down or something like that. So I just want to make sure that, you know, doing it right.
Yeah.
Or just having fun.
Yeah.
Actually. Like I don't plan, but we don't plan anything, but I don't plan to be serious, but who knows, whatever. And I'd still like to have fun. Either way, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I have fun every day. So it's super cool.
What is a vulnerability that you guys can think of as an example in relationships, either current relationships or past relationships, that stands out to you as far as something that's made a difference or something that felt like, oh, I led with vulnerability, and what did that look like? Because, again, I use the example of with Cameron and I and me saying whatever that thing was, something that I would have normally held back with, and I just thought, you know what, fuck it, let's just see.
Well, it's with my ex, and I saw an old pattern coming up, and I just had to speak it, you know. And I was trying to speak it to a neutral point of not belittling or being more than or him less than, but it had to do with a school loan, and how that was going to be paid for, and I was very upset that there was an assumption on my part that I was going to be doing some of that. The school loan is a year away. There's no like a year. I could be dead in a year.
Yeah.
You know,
Year's
like
a long
you're
time.
gonna pin me to know half the school loan in a year. Like let's talk about that next time. So there was a whole plan on his side, and all what I was hearing was just old patterns. It was the old patterns of there was a time, well, the whole time we were a unit, we paid for everything. We paid for nieces and nephews and friends and just birthday dinners. We would go out and we paid for the whole bill, you know, which I think was outrageous to me at the time because we were so broke, like so broke. But those are the old patterns. It's like, why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we pretend to be something that we're not? Why do we stretch ourselves when we really shouldn't? And I don't know his business. Maybe he can do it.
Right.
But for me, all I heard was old patterns, and I knew that I wasn't going to continue doing that. So I had to set my boundaries and speak my piece. And I think I did it fairly well. There was a lot of emotion there on both sides. Like right away, I could feel the anxiousness coming through the phone. So I was like, so it got me anxious, and I stayed calm, but I think I repeated myself more than once. So I had to cut it. But I think overall, my points came across. And I think that for me is a huge like win for me, just because I knew what I said and was the truth, and that I didn't want to commit to something that I didn't know what would happen in a year, or where I would be, or any of that. So I just couldn't. I just didn't feel like I could commit to that. So, and I had to be honest with our daughter. So I communicated that with her first, actually, before I even had the conversation with him. But it was like I was honest all the way around. This is me. This is what I don't know that I can do. Just being honest with you. So I think that was probably my most recent biggest one. Yeah.
Let's be real. Life doesn't come with a manual, but it does come with chaos. I wrote this book because I got tired of drowning in everyone else's noise and needed a way to fix my own shit. This isn't some sugar-coated self-help nonsense. It's raw, it's honest, and it's packed with tools that actually work in the middle of real life. If you're ready to stop playing small, take back your energy, and get unapologetically you again, this book is your playbook. You can pick up your copy of the Life Hack Playbook on Amazon or on our podcast website, letsgetnakedpodcast.com.
Which is huge. But doesn't that feel good? Like maybe that's uncomfortable in the moment, but then you're not, like the alternative is you commit or don't speak your truth. And then that hangs like a live wire, right? I call those live wires, where you just have these things that are not wrapped up, not tied up in a bow. It's like, sure, we're just like kicking the can down the road and we'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
No, like speak your truth now and say, I'm not committing to that. I'm not in that position to be able to do that. And also, when you start talking about being out to dinner and paying for things and all of this stuff, why in the fuck, and this is all of us, so this isn't me, why in the fuck do all of us give a fuck so much about what other people think? It's wild to me, because I look back at times over my course of my life too, same, like where you're doing things that are this, again, perceived expectation of whatever is required, or you're trying to do something so that you fit in, you compare yourself to someone else and then feel like you have to do something similar to that. And it's like, don't do that. Just be in tune with whatever feels authentic and true for you, and then own that shit, you know?
That's really a good point, because really feeling how you feel inside, man, that's everything.
Oh.
That is the answer to everything.
Agreed.
How about you? Are you starting to hone in on that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm listening to myself a little bit more. I feel like I have good days and bad days. I feel like there's times where it's like I'm really starting to see my path, but then other times where I kind of go off my path a little bit. But I'm doing better.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all kind of, there's times where people will throw you off of alignment.
Yeah.
And as long as you know where your North Pole is, your North Star, your center, just get back on that as best as you can.
And I do always feel that when I am getting off track, it's like I know this is wrong. I know this isn't right. And it makes me kind of sad, because I can see that's a big weakness in myself. But it's something that I'm aware of now that I never was before.
And that's not sad.
That's not sad. That's a really great, happy,
true.
exciting thing.
It's true.
So good.
I felt that exact same thing when you said that. That's not sad. Being aware of things, because you're not always going to love what you see when you look in the bag.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to be willing to look in the bag.
Well, and I definitely never looked in the bag.
Of course. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? It's like there's these monsters that live under the bed. I say this because I think it's a fun visual, right? And it's all of the things that we don't want to address about ourselves, whatever that is, right? My ego used to be on a very healthy diet. And I don't mean like good stuff healthy. I mean like a robust diet, right? And I didn't look at any of the things, right? I didn't look at any of the shit. And then I got sober and I started, on this whole path, which took me some time to really get up to speed. But when I started really looking, and when I was willing to look, I was like, I can't believe these people are still in my life. I'm like, what a fucking asshole I am on a lot of different fronts, and I didn't even realize. But it's just things that were weaknesses that maybe I then covered up with bravado and don't look at this because I've got this big puffy chest. I don't want to do that. I want to be my authentic self, which means not puffing up, but it also means not shrinking, you know, and that's one of the things that I'm working on right now is not shrinking because of who I am and the fact that I'm this loud personality and I have success and I have all of these different things. A lot of times I feel like I have to dampen that down a little bit to make it more palatable for other people. And just so everyone understands, the universe and I have had a conversation and she has told me that we're done with that. So fuck you. If you already have a problem with stuff, that's just who I am. That's who I am, and I'm going to be that. And it's not in a way of trying to be anything against anyone else, but I also am not going to fucking dim my light to keep other people comfortable. And I think that that's a big piece of as we learn and as we figure out the things about ourselves, figure out what your weaknesses are, figure out what your strengths are, what do you want to lean into, who do you feel like you authentically are, what can you let go of. If you don't spend time with yourself looking under the bed or where the monsters live, whatever, you'll never know that. Yeah. And then also when you look under the bed and you see the monsters, it's like, that wasn't that bad, right? You've been running and fearful about something that really just isn't that big of a deal anyways.
Right. And then the more often you do it, the easier it's going to get.
Yes, that's the key to it, right? The first time you do, it's like, oh my God, that felt really intense. And same thing like with the vulnerability in relationships. The first time Belinda and I had a really vulnerable conversation, it was like, that's fucking heavy. And you're trying to deal with that and process that and all the things. And now it's just like, hey, sister, I want to share some real fucked up stuff with you, whatever it is. And that can just be a conversation. And so it does get where it's easier. Same thing with Cameron. Now there's not a single thing I hold back. And I look back at when I did hold things back because I didn't want to say whatever it was. And I don't know what those things necessarily were or why some of them were, some of the reasons I do. But yeah, it's like it gets easier every time you do that. So every time you pull out something where, out of the bag or from under the bed where you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad, right? Where did that stem from? Why do I do that? Does that resonate with me now? Is that a limiting belief or something that was programmed in that I don't have to carry forward? Because the marriage thing and trying to keep up with people, where did that conditioning come from, right? I mean, that's just societal conditioning where it's like, we're going to get married. And you watch these people. I watch these people from the outside and I find it fascinating. We spend all of this money on this beautiful wedding where the bride is changing dresses multiple times and just put ourselves in so much fucking debt over that. For what, right? So then we can try to keep up with a bunch of different people. And then we think that it's just going to be easy. We're going to get married. We find our person. Now we're off doing whatever. That's actually not how it works at all. Just for anyone that's even recently married or thinking about getting married, if you're not, watering and tending to the garden that relationship is, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's whatever, if you're not putting work into that, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when you go, I don't know who this person is, and there's no way I want to spend my next 10 years or 20 years or whatever that looks like with that person.
Yeah. I mean, I think going further or first before that is you got to do work on yourself.
Yes. No, you're right, because how are you going to even fucking know what you're communicating if you don't know who you are? I didn't know who I was. Yeah. I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
For a long, long time.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I'm still...
I mean, I felt a lot of things. I noticed a lot of things, but I couldn't do anything with them. Yeah. I didn't know what to do with them. But there was a lot of hesitations, a lot of,
The not knowing what to do with it is really, really powerful that you say that, because you're absolutely right. And you have to be willing to really kind of go all in on you and figure out what that looks like. Talk with other people. That's why, conversations and friendships that are in the deep end hit differently, because you're talking about different things that you're unpacking about yourself or different things that you're discovering as you're journaling or as you're going down this path. So instead of talking about what ugly shoes Sheila is wearing, who gives a fuck about Sheila, let's talk about like whatever it is that came up for you recently, so I can relate to that too and say, I'm dealing with something similar and here's where I found. Because that's where growth happens. Yeah. When we're all willing to speak with each other about stuff that's deeper, where it's like, this is what I'm dealing with. Do you have any tips or tricks for this? And maybe that other person doesn't, but just even having that conversation is really powerful to advance you.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I don't want to stay in this place where it's like, baby bitch behavior and, zero emotional intelligence for stuff. And everyone's just bumping into each other's triggers and then acting like, oh, well, that was my trigger. Fuck off. Yeah. Just so you know, when you say like, oh, that was my fucking trigger, that's your work. That has nothing to do with me. That's your work. So you're saying like, I didn't do my work and fuck you because you touched it? Like, stop it.
Well, then you just kind of stay in that
it's stuck.
Space of not getting better.
No.
And it's just,
Well, and you don't take accountability for stuff, right? Like, is it my fault? Everything is my fault. right? Everything is my fault. And when you're willing to say that and own that and take accountability for that, how I respond to things, how I receive things, how I fucking interact with things, all of those things are my choices, my decisions. If I have someone in my life that I don't want in my life, do something about it, right? Don't be like, oh my God, can you believe what she said? Maybe Sheila needs to go down the road. Maybe she's not going into the next season with you, right? As we all evolve, do inventory regularly, you know?
Yeah.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to say, I don't know why this is so funny to me, but it really is. This came up because I was watching a show and somebody was talking about in their marriage, like they weren't sucking dick anymore, right? They were like, no, I don't do that anymore. And I just thought, if you're not sucking dick anymore, just get out now. And I mean,
most important
and I mean sucking dick on both sides. Everyone understands what I'm saying when I say that. But it's like, if you're at this place where I'm not putting everything into this relationship, go the other way. Go the other way. I want you, Belinda, to be happy. If that means I'm sucking your dick, obviously. I fucking love Michael. I love him so much. He went from yawning 45 seconds ago. See, I had to wake Michael up. This had nothing to do, everyone that's listening, this had nothing to do with you and your enjoyment of this show. Michael was yawning. He's our producer, and I had to wake him up. So, but the whole dick sucking thing is absolutely true. If you're not interested in making certain that I have the best experience, whatever that looks like, if you don't want to connect with me in that way, go find somebody else. I'm not too good to suck anybody's dick. These girls don't know where to go with this. Casey, what is your thoughts on all of this? You're welcome.
I
You're
do
welcome,
have
Michael.
some thoughts, but I feel like I have to
Process that before you just
process
I'm getting
and be
warm.
careful
I think
with
I'm
what
going
I
to take
say.
my shirt off. Jesus. I think it's the dick
I had this thought in my head when you said that, and I was like, oh God, don't say that.
Don't say the dick sucking thing. Me or you?
No, me. I was going to say.
You probably always say, and please stop saying that. Fucking stop talking.
What is it?
No, I'm dying to know now.
Yeah. Share.
I didn't want to go the whole conversation without bringing up the dick sucking thing. Because for me, it was fucking hilarious. It was like, I don't suck his dick anymore. I'm like, but you want him to pay for all your shit? Like, and again, not this whole like prostitution, we're changing money for sexual favors, but I can always look back at my relationship with Cameron, and when things are going really well, all that shit's happening all the time. When things are not going well, that's not happening.
It
Do you think
makes
that's a
me happy
direct?
to do that.
I know. Do you think that's a direct correlation? Probably. Tell me what you. Please take the
No, I
reins and
was-
get the microphone away from me now, because I've taken a left turn into fucking Wackadooville.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, am I still sucking your dick?
I think we're both sucking each other's dicks.
I think so.
I think it's lovely to suck
I think
dick.
so.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Like who's
I feel like it's a fair amount.
I fucking suck dick all the time. Jesus. My knee pads are in the
Can
car.
I get in on that?
Yes, you can.
Casey, you're always sucking
You
dick.
are. You're so good at it.
wish.
You
I know.
are real good at it.
Is it Cardi B or Nicki Minaj? She says, if I had a dick, you'd suck it like a lollipop. Because that fucking is where my heart is.
Probably
Like,
both of them.
I know.
I know. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, by the way, ladies. Nikki and Cardi. Like, real thank you for
love
that
them
line.
both.
I love them too. But it's like, that's the kind of energy that I'm talking about, right? Like, get your dick out there. Yes, everyone's sucking. That's a whole thing. People need that.
Choke on
Right.
that thing.
I fucking love Casey. She gets that look in her eyes like she's serious.
Yeah, she's going to come after you.
She's serious. Your vibe feels real rapey right now.
Oh, great.
I know. I go great. Again,
for you guys.
I just want to point that out to you. If you're not in this place where you're fucking 100% happy in your relationship, evaluate how much dick is getting sucked. And I mean in and outside of the bedroom. I don't necessarily mean like the
Right.
physical. I mean all of the things. Like, I want my king to win. I want to be his biggest fan and his loudest cheerleader. You know, that's the dick sucking, right? I want you to be that way. I want you to feel like that. I want you to feel like that. So when you're talking about, okay, I'm not, we're not connected, we're not this, we're not that. Are you being vulnerable? Are you having deep conversations? And are you sucking each other's dicks?
You know what's funny is I really was trying to do all those things in not my marriage, but
Now I'm dying.
Not that.
Wait. I'm literally like, I'm going to give the popcorn out.
with my last relationship.
Yeah.
And it was, I know it's not the best example because that was a big oopsies. My bad.
Whoopsie doodle.
For like almost
My
5
bad.
years.
My bad.
Oops. But it was never reciprocated.
Well, you didn't have an equal partner.
Yeah.
Not at
Right,
all.
Belinda and I, right now, right, with this who's sucking whose dick, I love that question because it means everyone's sucking everyone's, right? That's a whole thing. Same, like I want that to feel like that. I don't want that to feel one-sided. I used to come from a place where my ego was like, everyone can suck my dick, right? Which is a disgusting place to come from. Did I realize that then? No, I literally thought the world revolved around me. It does not. I'm happy to be part of the whole party, right? All the way around. Your last relationship, Casey, you didn't have an equal partner in that situation, right? You're a people pleaser, which by the way, newsflash to people pleasers that are listening, fucking stop. People are never pleased. It's a waste of time.
I've learned the word no.
I appreciate that.
Ooh.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that great? I've learned the
I will
word
be
no.
there on Saturday.
I know. It's a full sentence with a period. It's perfect. You're supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
But when you have a partner that is not an equal, who doesn't even understand the concept of all of that, who doesn't understand that we're supposed to champion one another, right? I was talking with Cameron, it's like he's at this really big place in his career and in his path right now, and I'm also in a really big place for mine. And to be where we're supporting one another and feel like we feel supported and supporting.
Ooh.
Like,
That's big dick.
It's big dick. It really is, and it feels like that. It feels like I don't feel like he's any more or less or vice. I mean, it's the coolest thing on the planet.
marriage goals.
That
Oh,
is.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I want that to feel like.
That's
And we
awesome.
have all of the deep conversations. And I am vulnerable AF because we have had the conversation of, I'm going to stand naked in front of you. I expect that you treat it with as much care as is required in that. Same. I don't want to have relationships that I don't get to stand naked in front of people. Right? And it does take work to get to that place.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To be vulnerable and say, you hurt my feelings, or not that we're supposed to tiptoe around one another, but I want to hear. I don't want you to have rocks under the rug because I said something and then we didn't have that conversation to close it out, right? Those are the live wires. Those are the things where it's like you're resentful because someone said something or did something, and then you didn't speak your truth or you didn't stand up for yourself or whatever. So, yeah, it is. I think being vulnerable, being willing to get in the deep end with people, that is relationship goals. Whether it's in a marriage or whether it's in a, I don't even think Cameron's my husband. He's my person. Like, husband seems so like, ugh. You know what I mean? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like so last season. I don't know.
80s.
It is so 80s. I'm like,
So
I want to get a
80s.
divorce just so that he can just be my person. Like,
You just want to call him your person? Like that's his title?
that's what I'm going to do. He's my person. Because even when we were talking about partner, because we've been, business partners for all of this time as well, in addition to everything else, life partners. It's like, partner just doesn't seem like it does it either. Like, he's definitely my person, right? 100%. That man champions hard for me. He rides hard for me. He's in the deep end with me. And if you can, as Belinda knows too, and as both of you know, being in the deep end with me is not an easy task. It's
She will fucking take you down.
Sometimes
You
I
better
step on
learn
you.
how to swim.
Sometimes I need to grab onto your foot to get myself buoyed back up. I mean, you just never know what's going to fucking happen in the deep end with me.
Yeah.
But it's no dull moments.
That's very true.
No dull moments, right? And
We're good swimmers, right, Case?
We are.
That's a good way to
We can
say
float
that.
on our backs and everything.
Oh, these ladies, and it's pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
I find that with all of the people that are in the deep end with me, you guys are all really strong swimmers, and so I understand the theme now, and I know what to look for. With other people, it's like, how's the swimming skills? All right, get in here, get in here.
No floaties necessary.
No floaties necessary. But isn't that so much fun? I mean,
is.
think about our relationship as it's grown over the last 30 years or 20 years or whatever that looks like. I don't want to not have, people that can come correct and fucking say, here's how I feel, or this is what this did, or what that looks like. What came up for you when
I
you
know.
said
I just
that?
got buzzy.
Ooh,
like
I
just
love
thinking
that.
of like, it's not. I don't know. It feels fresh. It doesn't. It feels like the timer started again.
Oh.
Whew. Yeah, I
I-
just got buzzy.
I love that you said the timer started again,
Yeah.
because I was telling Cameron, I feel like I've literally reincarnated in the same life.
Oh.
Because I don't feel like this version of Anne is anything like the old version of Anne. And I almost chuckle because I'm like, what a douchebag that last version was. And again, like, she was fun, she was great, she was generous, like all of the different things, but no comparison to this version of Anne. And so the timer restarting, or knowing that you have this renewed whatever with someone, and that you can have that where it's like, yes, please.
Yeah.
I want to go to the next level in my relationships with all of my people. It's, I don't know. I'm fucking here for all of it. I love it.
It's exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right there with you, sis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, what else are you going to be doing with your day? Fucking doom scrolling and fucking watching TV and shit? Figure out who you are. Figure out who you are. Go on a scavenger hunt. This is for all of the listeners. Take this as the PSA that it is. Go on a scavenger hunt to figure out who the fuck you are.
Oh yeah, and have fun with
That's
that.
a good one.
Oh
Ann.
my God. It is literally, I've done some cool shit in my life. It is the coolest thing I have done, hands down. Figuring out who the fuck Ann is. And what that took for me was a big step of obviously stopping pouring alcohol on top of it, because that was a huge numbing tool for me. But then over the years, just really understanding inside of me is where the nectar lives. That's the knowing. That's where God is for me, right? That's my church is inside here. Get out in nature and fucking be still, be quiet, take your journal and just see what comes up.
Do you remember what the first thing you did was to kind of get you onto this new journey, this new Ann? Like, what was the thing that you did that was like, yeah, I'm learning who I am?
I think ayahuasca was a pretty big thing
say
for me.
that.
Ayahuasca was pretty savage for
Yeah.
me because I knew something was stuck. I knew something was blocked, and I had done all of this work up to that point, and it was really just that whole, from 15 to 24 years of my first marriage and not realizing how devastating that was to that version of Ann.
Yeah.
And when I started going back and unpacking that and realizing how that abuse from that relationship just crushed my soul as a human being.
Yeah.
And to know that, the other thing that was wild to me was I moved out of my house growing up into that because that was the means to the end of getting out of that. And that made it even crazier realization for me. And so being able to do the ayahuasca and really open things up and understand it's okay to address those things. It's okay to acknowledge that hurt and acknowledge that girl that was 15 years old that did the best that she fucking could, right? Because I had, as you got girls too, not amazing upbringings when it comes to all of the shit and the trauma and all of the things that we went through. Yeah. But if you just keep, my MO was just keep topping shit on top of that. We'll just keep pouring booze and numbing on top of that, getting to this place of, no, let's open her up. Let's see, and I had been on this mission for all of those years after getting sober, but then ayahuasca which was 3 years ago. And I feel like I've just been on a freight train ever since then.
It's only been 3 years.
Not even 3 years. It'll be 3 years in March.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is that wild?
That's insane. I thought it was a little bit,
No, maybe it's 3.5 years. Maybe it's 3.5 years.
I thought it was more like 6.
No. It was right before I moved back down here, and I haven't been down here 3 years. I've only been down here 2.5 years.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, so it hasn't been 3 years yet. It'll be 3 years in March. I know. Wow. Isn't that wild? I literally feel like I've been on a fucking freight train since then.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in that short amount of time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sure. Does it feel like a freight train from where you guys are sitting? Because it fucking feels like my hair is blasted back and I am just like...
And cheeks are flying.
And then surrendering, right? Like going on that hike with you, and I literally, I have my hands up and I fucking, okay, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to do this Michael Singer surrender experiment because that book, his surrender experiment, was so powerful to me because it's like when you're really plugged in and you understand that it isn't about you and that what is my highest purpose here on this, in this earth, on this experience, and then leaning into that. All right, what does that look like? And now I'm sitting here on this fucking couch with you guys talking about sucking dick. So go ahead and surrender. I love Michael so much. I love him snickering from behind the TV. It really makes my heart happy. Yeah. It's a whole thing. How about for you? For either of you? Do you feel like you've gotten to a place where it was like, okay, this was a pivotal event for me or a pivotal realization or, something that really kind of opened things up for you?
I mean, honestly, just being at my rock bottom
Yeah.
when I came over to your house that one day. Mm-hmm. That to me was like, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a good thing that happened. The good thing was sitting down and just talking about it with someone.
And just unburdening yourself from carrying all of that weight around. I think people don't realize there's so much invisible weight. And when you realize it, it's like, I just set down a 50-pound backpack I didn't realize I was carrying around. Right? And I could feel you setting that down. Again, we don't have to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are a bunch of assholes. They're not even real. It's all of this all of these things that we do this so that these societal expectations of things, whether it's marriage or stop doing that. Who are these people that you're performing for?
Yeah.
I had a friend that told me something that really hit me hard. She was talking about a granddaughter of hers, and she was talking about how the her personality and whatever. She's like, yeah, she's the type of girl that will go climb a tree just for whoever's watching, right? And how sad that is, right? Like she's not climbing the tree for the love of climbing the tree. She's climbing the tree for who's watching and to look and make certain that somebody's watching.
Okay.
And I thought, that was who I was my entire life.
I
right?
recognize that.
I recognize that. And it felt like, I'm not doing that anymore. This 8-year-old girl that this 48-year-old woman is right now climbs the tree because she fucking wants to. She fucking goes and does the things that fucking make my heart happy. And I think we all need to get back to that because we are so performative. And when you realize, I don't want to be the girl that climbs the tree because others are watching, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck, but I spent a lot of time giving a fuck. You know, so it's like the kids, they don't know who the fuck I am anymore. I remember they were over for Thanksgiving and they're like, who is this? I'm like, I donated my last fuck to science. So like, that's where this girl is. And I'm enjoying my best life.
What's funny is I'm the complete opposite is I wouldn't climb the tree because people were watching. And that's...
Oh my God. What a fascinating concept that is. Why?
Yeah, that's what I
don't
Like, say more.
I don't like attention on me. I don't like being noticed.
Where does that stem from?
I don't know. I have like zero self-esteem. And it's just carried throughout my adult life. But yeah, if people were, I mean, there was a time where we were playing soccer when we were kids. We were on teams and I would just stand there like, people were watching, don't look at me. I'm just going to stand here and hope nobody notices me. Isn't that interesting?
It's fascinating.
So
I really
interesting.
want to dive in on that.
Should have mentioned it earlier.
Well, it sounds like you don't know where it stems from, but I
Yeah.
would really encourage you to get curious
Don't
about that.
know, yeah.
That's the kind of stuff, that's when I say like getting curious and going all in on you. Figure out where that is. Because there are things for me that I figure out where I'm like, oh, that's where it comes from. And then you can tie that live wire and send it on its way and not carry the invisible weight that comes from that. Because
Yeah.
when you do have low self-esteem or low confidence and all of these things, that stems from something, obviously. And being able to like pull that weed is kind of how I visualize that. You're able to get it out and then fucking move on and figure out what do I need to do to build confidence in myself or self-esteem in myself because you deserve that. You deserve to live a life where you fucking have self-esteem and you know that you're all that, right? I mean, just ask Nicki or Cardi B. I'm 100% that bitch. 100% that
I mean, I
bitch.
definitely am feeling that more now, but especially as a kid, it was
Sure.
like, it was terrible.
Yeah, but you look at the patterns and the things that were handed down generationally to you. Now that I see the patterns, it's so fascinating
Yes.
to me. Not only in myself, but in other people as well. And obviously you can't be like, oh, hey, knock, knock on your door. Can I point out a pattern for you? I mean, if you want to know, come ask me because I see it in everybody, all the different things, because I'm fascinated by that now. That's literally what pulls my attention and I want to know different things that people do to protect their triggers that
Yeah.
they don't fix instead of just fixing that stupid fucking trigger and moving on with their lives and being amazing, you know?
You know what's funny is yesterday I was talking to Keith and I was telling him how I needed to get an oil change. But I don't want to go. I hate going to like any car place. I just don't like it. I don't like being in there. He's like, that's weird. Why don't you like that? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like being there. But he kept pushing me like, but that's weird. Like there's something else. What is it? So I sat for a moment and it only took me a couple of seconds, but I really took the time to think, why don't I like it? And it's because the way like a car shop smells reminds me of my dad and like the way he would smell of like just construction but also alcohol and just dirty, and it just takes me back there. So it's funny, like a lot of times I don't even know my triggers until I like truly actually take a moment to sit down and think about it. Like I never thought, I just don't like, in my mind, I just don't like car mechanic places, whatever. I don't like them.
Right.
That is so huge.
But really,
That is so huge. I mean, like,
oh my
she
God.
comes in with that shit. We have fucking 2 minutes left, and she comes in with that shit. That's the powerful stuff because that's the stuff where you can say, you can go back in your mind, in your process, and hold space for that girl that fucking has the hate for that smell and that things with the dad and all of the things, and tie that up and release it. And then you don't have that anymore. That trigger is no mas, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have that anymore about auto mechanics or any of that stuff. You're the one holding the paintbrush. So like you said, just taking a few minutes, right? Maybe it takes longer for other things. Maybe it takes shorter. But if you're willing to do the work and plug into that and not from this place of, oh, I have to do the work. It's no, fuck that. I get to do the work. I get to figure out who the fuck I am. In these four walls of who Ann is, I get to figure out. In these four walls of who Casey is, you get to figure out who that is. Doesn't that seem like so much more fun than any stupid shit they put on fucking TV?
Yeah.
Right? And then instead we go home and we turn the TV on and we fucking numb. Stop it. Everybody stop it. I swear to God. Figure out how to get on your own individual journey. And if you need tips and tricks, you fucking reach out and I'll give you tips and tricks on how to get started. But it is literally way more fun to figure out why Belinda does the things she does, why Casey does the things she does. Because once you get all of that stuff figured out, or a big chunk of it, that's free mode. Right? That's free mode. You can't fuck with a piece like what I have going on right now. I'm fucking the 8-year-old version of Ann going out doing shit because I fucking want to, right? Getting outside and fucking playing and being silly and laughing and not taking everything so goddamn serious.
Yeah.
Fuck the Joneses. You don't have to keep up with them.
They're boring
I
anyway.
know, they are boring anyways. Ladies, thank you so much for taking time to come chat with me. It's always my favorite to get to talk with both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's our time for today. Casey told me that I have to tell everyone that's listening, please go on and do reviews. Go on for the podcast, go on Apple Podcasts, go on Spotify, go on Amazon and review the book. If you haven't bought the book yet, please do so. It will change your life, I guarantee you. If you don't like the book, fucking send it back. I'll buy it back from you. But definitely put notes in there about what you learned so that I can incorporate that into volume 2. Reach out to us via DM or our email address, ladies@letsgetnakedpodcast.com, and we will catch you next time. That's a wrap.